This is Grifpool by Dunco. Canvas is Alpine. Description: you're in the sewers. So yes, Grifpool. I think the original map was called Cesspool. I'm guessing that it was made from. I'm only going by the his tag on his forum post, or his signature. Anyhow, we're in the sewers. Let's see how this works. I'm seeing a bit of a frame thing. If you look on the left side of the screen, it seems like things are popping in and out of existence. Check to make sure that doesn't happen in game mode. That could just be me. Could be my capture. No, it can't be my capture device because I'm looking at it in the actual screen. Just make sure that doesn't happen. It could be something to do with the fog settings, or it's probably just to do with the invisible blockers. Never mind. I'm sure it's fine in game mode, but just check to be sure. Okay, so as usual, let's start at the top. It's a solid top court, obviously. There is... okay, I see what's going on here. Not a problem. There are perches, so that's something that's got to be resolved. And the usual way to resolve that, here I'll just show you where the perches are. These pipes here, you can stand on them. That's outside of normal hammer range, so that's called a perch. So that's got to be repaired. And the perches are very, very easy to repair. I'm just going to ungroup this block so I can show you. I'm going to pull it out. You just take these blocks and you just turn them like 10-15 degree angle, whatever it takes, and then so you see what it, you just push them until the little piece is sticking out like that, and then just make that little piece go away, and that's where your block should end up. Okay, so that's what your top block should look like. So everything looks the same. Everything will, to the player, there's no difference. It's just this is more of a smooth transition now, and there's no perches. Okay, so that's a really simple fix for those. So that's it for the the top of the court. He's used the prefab system, so I don't have to worry about taking measurements. I can't really see under the floor. Oh, I see. It's a terrain. There's no glass there's no invisible barriers. It's just terrain and then that on top. So, and that's good because he hasn't used any floor decoration. So you don't have to worry about bumps. As long as the terrain pieces are all melded together nicely, it should be perfectly smooth. The only bumps in the floor, of course, will be the bomb pickup and the bomb plant, which is quite acceptable because that's how they are in every court pretty well. Some of them are below the invisible blockers. Yeah, so you don't have to worry about invisible blocker floor. Good flat terrain. So he's used the back of a terrain flat piece, not the top piece, because the top of them are kind of rounded. Wall hop, clamber ledge all look good. They all look pretty standard. I think he's used the block that. Oh no, he swapped out the blocks on the wall with the ones that don't disappear when you grab them, so that's good. And as I tell everyone, test in game. Everywhere there's a seam, like right here, you have to make sure, and as I say, test in game, not in forge mode, test in game. Everywhere there's a seam, you must thoroughly check to make sure there are no dead zones. It's kind of hard to see in this. Here's what I would do is, just for testing purposes, take every second block and change the color on them. Okay, just for testing purposes, change the color on them, and that way it's clear to define where the joints are. And in game mode, check each and every one of these to make sure that there's no dead zones where these pieces collide. Okay, and check each one like 20-30 times, whatever it takes, And make sure that you have absolutely no dead zones on your clamber ledge, because you'll get a dead zone occasionally where two pieces. Yeah, there you go. There's one right there. You see, it didn't fire the first time. See, oh, almost. It caught just at the very end because I moved over. There you go. See, dead zone. So that has to be repaired, and typically you just repair them. You just juggle them around a bit or move one up and down. I'm gonna turn magnets off, turn my snap to Z fighter, and just move it up and down, whatever, so that it just creates a different surface. And if you still get them, after all that, you still get them, what you can do is put an invisible blocker across the middle, 128, 128, 128 cube. Another one there, another one there. The ones on the outside, you turn them 6 degrees, and you totally envelope the wall. This is only, as I say, only if it's a problem. Yes, by the way, I'm catching a bad cold. Or I've caught a bad cold. It just hasn't really hit very hard yet. So I'm going to get as many of these done as I can before I lose my voice. You can totally envelope this in invisible blockers if you need to, if you're having problems with these walls. Or the other thing you can do is leave the walls as they are and put a runner. I'm just going to grab this as an example. Leave these walls as they are, or actually push them in a little bit and lower them a little bit, and then use one of these and just create a cap like that. See what I mean? And bring these out so they're whoop, I grab both pieces. There shouldn't be too much of a gap there. Like, just embed these. Well, actually, these are going to be lower. See, these are going to be like halfway down these. And then just push them in just until they go away. You don't want to have too much of an overhang, because if you have an overhang, it's going to cancel people's jumps. They're going to jump and bump their head. So you want that to be fairly smooth. But what that does is it gives the top a nice fresh edge. It used a 128 length, so you only need one here, one there turned at 6 degrees, one there turned the other way at 6 degrees. And what you're doing is you're just providing a fresh edge for them to clamber on, okay? And that's why. Okay, this piece here is too high. So these pieces here are going to be way down so they don't interfere with clambering. And you've got a cap piece up there that just provides a nice clamber ledge along the full length. So you don't have to worry about all the joints that are along here and testing each one. I don't know if you'd want to use this piece because of this on it, but you'll be able to find one of the larger blocks that actually works for that. So I'll leave that up to you as to how you want to address that, but you'd have to repair and make sure that all your clamber ledges work along the other way. This is an issue here, is you've got a clamber ledge on the goal wall, which is definitely is not allowed in Grifball. The side of the end zones where the spawns are, these are wall hops, not clamber. Okay, and I see how you've got decorative pieces here to indicate where the wall hop is. That's fantastic, but what you're going to have to do then is you're going to have to take your actual back wall, your invisible blocker back wall, and you're going to have to bring it in to about there, to the point where it cancels clambers. Okay, so you see you can't clamber there, can clamber here. Okay, and it's you just leave just enough room that they can stand on the wall, but not enough room that they can clamber, because the runners really do not, when they're making a press for the goal and they want to jump off this wall hop ledge, the act of clambering takes control away from the runner, and it's very frustrating, because they want to do what they want to do is really quickly they want to do a double jump. They want to jump on the wall, jump up again, and slam it in for a goal. And they do that very quickly, and if they ended up having to wanting to do a double jump and they do a clamber instead, they're a sitting duck while they're in the clamber animation. Okay, so you can't have any clambering along the back wall. Here's a bit of a perch, but I'm pretty sure this is okay. That's okay, because the ruling is like you see the wall hop ledge here, and any perches that are within double height of the wall hop ledge are allowed. Okay, so if a player does manage to stand on there, it's not a big deal, because a hammer strike or sword strike will kill him up there. He's not out of range of hammer, so that perch is actually okay. If they manage to stand on here, there's no problem with that, as long as it isn't big enough. And it definitely isn't. As long as this isn't big enough to get the ball caught on here, that's perfectly fine. Even if it, as they say, even if that is big enough for a player to stand on, which it almost is there. I bounced off, but see, that is perfectly acceptable perch because it's nice and low. It's not more than twice the height of the clamber edge or the wall hop ledge, so that's an allowable perch. But you know, these ones definitely aren't. So I think that's it for this one. Make those changes, note them in your original map post, and that way we'll move it on to round 2 after you've repaired, and we'll have a look at it again. So nice entry, and we'll see you next time once the repairs are